Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report, where every week Fred Altvater and I check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you today?
Hey, Carlos, I'm great. I got to tell you, though, today's the longest day of the year, right? June 21st. So it's all downhill from here. We're heading towards winter now. But 55 degrees was a high here in Cadillac, Michigan today. A little breezy out. Had to ditch the shorts and go for the long pants. A little cold outside, but you know what? That's what you get up here. You get some days like that. Hey, we had a major last week, I think. Wasn't there a U.S. Open or something? There was a lot of damage, a lot of car. It looked like NASCAR. Look, there was a lot of pileup on that back nine on Sunday.
There was, and the only one that seems to come unscattered out of it, it was Jon Rahm Rodriguez. That's his name, the first Spaniard. He won it in, oh my God, I was so, and of course, yes, I'm a little biased on this. I'm going to give you everyone, you know already, I'm a little biased about that. But anyway, I wanted to correct NBC because they were saying that Phil Mickelson called out Jon Rahm's greatness before me, and he didn't. I was the one who picked it. So please, let's get this on the record, NBC. It was me. It was not Phil Mickelson. But anyway,
Nobody messes with Carlos and new talent coming up. He's got his eye on the talent.
And I have some things that's going to happen with Jon after this. But anyway, his era has arrived, and he won it in great fashion. He birdied 17 and 18 to win his first major championship and become the first Spaniard ever to win the U.S. Open. And by the way, he took off world number one in the process again, as he now is did it on the same course that he proposed to his wife on the first Father's Day as a dad for him. And just 2 weeks after he made national news for a brutally time sensitive positive for COVID-19. And I'm not going to go there because I've discussed it very, very much. But anyway, Fred, Jon Rahm, he was tied for the lead. And I think the key here, and one of the things that I want to emphasize on, I've said about him that once he's able to tame that emotion that he has, because it's not that he's angry or anything. A lot of people misunderstand that for him. It's that passion that he has, that takes him, that fiery passion that he has, and really sometimes he hasn't been able to tame it. But I think the key, and everybody should see this happen on the 18, because his second shot went on the green, right? But the ball kicked a little bit hard right before it rested there on the downslope of the bunker. With the green, now when he's looking at the green, you would see it was sloping away from him, and then there was the water hazard. So what happens? There's a lot of players who would say, okay, let me just try to do a nip a spinner right at the flag and, leave yourself close for a kicking birdie, right? And Jon Rahm is one of the best players, bunker players on the planet. I mean, he's definitely capable of that shot. But instead of going with that shot, he did what you couldn't think. I mean, he instead of doing that, all he did was, okay, let me just do the shot and let me go back to this, backtrack a little bit. He just birdied 17. Okay, that emotion, you would see him and you would say, okay, he's going to be on this high and he's just going to try to go for a flag. But he didn't go for the flag. And, water was looming behind it with his bunker shot on that final hole, but he didn't even think about it. He made that, you could call it the mature, unsexy decision to play safe, okay, of the flag. He eliminated the water from the equation and gave himself an 18-footer for birdie. You would say, well, that's too long. And yeah, numbers didn't give him the chance, because roughly 17% on the PGA Tour make the putts from there. But he had a sure birdie look at least, and he made it. And from there, that's the way that he went. I mean, birdie, Fred, amazing finish. It looks genius after he did that. And one of the things that I mentioned last week is that there's nobody else better playing the Paul Anima greens than him. He knows this course perfectly. I mean, the way that he did it. For Louis Oosthuizen, man, I felt bad for him. He's seventh time now, second in a major. Only Tiger with 8 and Phil with 11 have more. And when I saw those last three,
Jack had 18 or 19.
Okay, so anyway,
Don't forget my golden bear, buddy.
Yeah, my bad. But anyway, I was talking about the ones they're playing right now. So Phil is 11, and of the active players. So for Louis Oosthuizen, as he was facing the 16, 17, and 18, they show he has been playing those three at 7 under. So even though Jon Rahm was sitting at the clubhouse with one shot lead, you would say, hey, maybe Louis Oosthuizen can do it. But in that first one on 16, he tried to go to the middle of the green, but it went a little to the right. Took that birdie away from it. He gave it a good run, but it didn't go. But then on 17, very unlikely, that drive with all the real estate to the right, it went left and it went into the hazard.
That was a shot that changed the whole tournament right there.
Right there. And still, he could still salvage par, which he tried. He missed closely, but that was it right there. I didn't think, and it looked like it was really, the nerves were getting to him. Even in 16, that tee shot wasn't unlikely like him. So 17, again, took it out of there. That bogey really took him out. He had to eagle 18, and definitely, again, he didn't do well with his second shot, with his tee shot. Then his second shot was really not that. I mean, when the third one didn't fell, that was when Jon Rahm won. So Fred, I'm going to pass it on to you. I've talked enough. I have a lot that I could talk about Jon Rahm, but I want to hear you first.
Well, to continue your thought with Louis on the 18th, on his third shot, actually his second shot, he really wanted to go for the green. He was trying to figure any way in the world to go for that green. And the caddies, they're talking back and forth. And Louis just finally said, I can't, there's no way to make this happen. The odds of him slipping that around that pond were just enormous. It just wasn't going to happen. So, in jest, I made that comment last week when we did the preview about a tin cup moment. And that was his tin cup moment right there. He decided not to go for it. He did lay up. And you know what? I mean, we saw very few balls in that pond. That's amazing to me. These guys are so much better than the guys 15, 20 years ago. I mean, years ago, when they were going for that green, I mean, you would see about 30% of the balls in that pond. Plus, they had that shaved down. They would be up on the green and they would roll back down in the pond if they were just on the front part of that green. So the guys are much better now of getting the ball up far enough into the green where it doesn't come back, and then they'll putt it back down the slope. So that's one thing. But Louis really wanted to go for that second shot, and it just wasn't there with the lie he had in the rough off his tee ball. But the shot that really made the difference was his tee shot on 17. That was it. And then Rahm's putts on 17 and 18. Those were just, what was the tournament that Rahm and Dustin Johnson were throwing bombs back and forth? Remember, they went in the playoff. They were both making these long putts. That's what I thought back to. Rahm has made some really big putts in his career already. So he's got that putter working. But what we learned. So I asked myself, what we learn? Well, the back nine at Torrey Pines is really hard. It's a lot harder than what we see it set up for just the Farmers Insurance. It's a whole different animal. Louis Oosthuizen, Bryson DeChambeau. Just ask these guys: Colin Morikawa, Brooks Koepka, Russell Henley, Rory. They all melted down on the back nine on Sunday. They all had a chance at winning this thing after 9 holes. Bryson DeChambeau was 5 under par after 9 holes, ends up shooting a 44 on the back, a quad, a double, and 2 bogeys, and falls clear down to 19th or something. I mean, that was a tremendous fall for him. You got, oh yeah, this was great. You listened to him after the round. He said he was unlucky. Well, I say his theory of hitting it hard and finding it didn't work at the US Open. You can't keep hitting it in the rough at a US Open. We saw Lexi Thompson try that with her driver on the back nine out there in San Francisco. It didn't work for her, and it didn't work for Bryson. I'm not sure how he got it done last year doing that, but his wedge play was absolutely horrendous. If he would have been hitting wedges halfway decent, he would have had about a 4-shot lead going into Sunday's round. His wedge play, he putted pretty well, but his wedge play was terrible. He's got to do something. That one length wedge for him is not working. He's got to get closer to that ball with that wedge because he's coming out of it. He's pulling it. He's not controlling his distance at all. For a pro of his caliber, his wedge play was more like about a 5 handicap. It was not very good. Louis Oosthuizen, what can you say? The guy's solid, but I really didn't feel he was playing all that great all week. He was playing okay, but he was hitting some real loose shots. And I saw a lot of his play all 4 days. And he wasn't playing that great. He was kind of right on the edge all the time. And so it really wasn't surprising to me that it kind of slipped away from him. Colin Morikawa, here's another guy. If he ever figures out how to putt and not be afraid to putt, the guy's not going to lose. His iron play is so good. He's about 15% better than any other player on his iron play. I mean, he's just hitting the middle of every green. And his putting, I saw him miss, 4 putts inside 5 feet. And they were terrible, just awful, terrible. So if he ever figures that out, he's going to be fine. Brooks Koepka, Carlos, I'm becoming a Brooks Koepka fan. I tell you, when you got a big tournament, and if you got to have somebody playing for your life, you want right now Brooks Koepka, because he's going to be in the fight. He's going to be right there no matter what. I don't care if he's got a broken leg, he can't bend over, whatever. He's going to be in it. The guy just loves to compete in those big events, and he's solid. He is really solid. Rory, I really thought Rory was going to get this done. I really was kind of pulling for him to win. And his driving, he really drove the ball well. I thought it was good. His iron play was okay. He just couldn't seem to get the ball in the hole. His iron play, he was hitting the greens, but he wasn't getting it close enough to the hole to give himself realistic birdie looks. But still, you'd think he'd make a couple putts here and there, but he really didn't. He made that one long putt. That was it. Then you had Migliozzi, Berger, Harris English, Brandon Grace. They all put together great rounds on Sunday. They were all in the 60s. When Paul Casey got near the lead, he went south in a hurry. The pressure got to him. We've seen that before from Paul Casey. Matt Wolff, it was great to see him in contention, doing well. Scotty Scheffler, they were all part of the story, but they fell back on Sunday. Your guy, this was amazing to me. I knew he had a good round, but Sergio moved up 26 spots with a 68 on Sunday. Dustin Johnson, on the opposite, fell 10 spots with a round of 74. Jordan Spieth still looking for a fairway. He can't seem to find him. Justin Thomas just didn't have it on Sunday. Patrick Reed, he had a 67 on Sunday, moved up 35 spots to T19. Hideki also posted a solid 68 and finished higher than Bryson. So the only other one there you got, Xander Schauffele playing at home, was consistent all 4 rounds, had a nice finish, just lacked a shot here or there that he needed to be in contention. So, Carlos, I'm going to just say one more time. You're probably going to get tired of hearing this, but if you can win at Muirfield Village, you can win a U.S. Open. We see it time after time after time. Jon Rahm has won at Muirfield Village. He was winning this year until he had to withdraw. It proved once again that the Memorial is a great indicator of who's going to be in contention at a U.S. Open. The clutch putts he made at 17 and 18 were fantastic. He was a player in most control of his game all day. He was hitting the ball solid, wasn't missing shots. He was a joy to watch. And lastly, I got to give it to the USGA. We give them a lot of grief on this show. The Torrey Pines was set up difficult, as it should be, but it was not unplayable, as some other U.S. Opens have been in recent memory. Not sure I was a big fan of the Mike Davis Love Fest, but I do appreciate the progress the USGA has made under Davis's realm. So there you go, Carlos. That's my take on the 2021 U.S. Open from Torrey Pines. It was a good one. I enjoyed watching it.
It was good. It was a very entertaining show. I hope the Open is as good as this one as well. But just to close it up, Mike Davis, yeah, I got to give it. This was a great setup in his last one on the USGA. He's leaving, as we have talked about. But definitely, it was such a good setup. It was fair. It was tough but fair, and even Phil Mickelson praised it. Just that should tell you how good the setup was. It was playable for the players. Now, as Brooks Koepka, definitely, there's no way ever until he retires I leave him outside of my top 5. That's just the only player ever that I'll have there. No way you can discount Brooks Koepka in any major or any big time tournament. Bryson DeChambeau. Again, and yeah, I know you guys are going to say you have it against him. No, I don't. The problem that I have against him is his attitude. Now, when he finished, he'd start saying, I don't care as much. I've already won it. Dude, that is a loser's mentality because you didn't make it. Now you just make the excuse, I've already won it. No, it did meant to you. And then he said, then I've hit it plenty of times worse than I did here, and I won, that there was just a little breaks here and there that you could have gone 7 or 8 under. Dude, yes, that could have been, but it didn't, and that's what happens. And you could say anything you want, okay? But your attitude on the field was very different from what you're saying afterwards, and you being defensive about it. Just open up and say, look, I messed up. My bad. And I got frustrated and I just didn't want it to play. I just wanted to get out of it, which was what it looked like. Okay. And the other side, you have Jon Rahm, which for years had been said, oh, he's a jerk. He's a generational talent, but his temper and all that stuff, he could throw clubs, scream at himself, be mad and all that. And what did he did now? For that reason, he was a very bad guy. But now, 4 years ago, he notched his first career victory there at Torrey Pines. 3 years ago, he got engaged there. 3 years ago, he won this. Now, this year, he won his first major at Torrey Pines. And you might say, well, he plays well at Torrey Pines. No, he is a great talent, and he's here to stay. His era is just starting. And this, when he became a father, and he said it afterwards, when he became a dad, it gave him, and he could have been 2 weeks ago when he got forced to withdraw from the memorial. Patty Harrington called him and told him, look, you could come out of this a jerk, or you can become a king out of this. It's how you're going to embrace this moment that is going to define you. And even with his wife, who was distraught when she found out that, hey, he had to withdraw, he said to her, and he repeated here in his, that he said, look, something good is going to come out of this. Okay. This is okay. I'm going to embrace it. It happened. I'm not going to fight the rules, which were right. And look what happens. That is the maturity that we're seeing right now in Jon Rahm. And I think a lot of that had to happen with now his new child, Kepa. And he was there with his wife, with his dad. And I think his era has just started. We're going to see more. And I'm going to be here telling you, he's going to become the winningest non-US player in major history. Okay. I'm not going to say he's going to be the most majors, but he's going to top. He's going to be the top there on the non-US players. That's my call for now.
He certainly has the potential to do that. And, you look at his physical build from his waist down, who does he remind you of? Jack Nicklaus. Jack had those tremendous thighs and calves and strength from the waist down. John's a big guy, you know, he's barrel chest, he's a big guy up top too, but he's got tremendous legs and that drive. And he just, with that swing that he's making, playing that fade, you know, he's got a lot of potential to do a lot of great stuff in the future.
He definitely does, and I can't wait to see what the future brings to him. But definitely, this was a very entertaining U.S. Open. Not because he won, but definitely it was there at the end. Even Louis had that chance, and you were in the expectation to see if he would hold out that third shot. It was a very entertaining tournament to see. So anyway, Fred, any final words before we close?
No, that's all I got for you, Carlos.
Well, we thank you for joining us, and remember to subscribe to our channel to keep up with the latest in news and information on the world of golf. Thank you for joining.